Thank you so much for staying tuned. You are watching the Virtuous Woman Show, and today we are talking about gender roles. Over time, we have seen that maybe they are evolving, and where we are now is definitely different from where we were 50 years ago. And to discuss this with me, I have a very wonderful woman of God who's been explaining to us what gender roles are, and we're going to continue with this topic. Karibu sana. Let's talk about stereotyping, just because, you know, you're a woman, so there's that expectation. Tell us about what gender stereotyping is.
Gender stereotyping are those, what I call them, negative connotations or just negative assumptions by the fact that you're a woman, this is what you're supposed to be. Yes. Or by the fact that you're a man, this is what you're supposed to do, this is how you're supposed to do it, and this is the way it should be because you are a woman or because you're a man. Yeah. Yes.
And how can we as a society curb that? Because not everybody has been brought up, especially in this day and age where everything is digitalized. Not every woman has been brought up in the way men think women should be. And not every man has been brought up in the way women think men should be. So how do we curb that and make equality a norm?
As a society, we have a great role to play when it comes to gender stereotyping. And as we have said earlier, gender stereotyping comes from the aspects of socialization process. Yeah. It's a process. And majorly it starts when you're a child. You're told this is how a woman should be, this is how a woman should act, how a woman should behave. These are the obligations of a woman and the opposite of a man. And I would say as a society, how we can be able to curb this gender stereotyping first is from the socialization process. How do we socialize our children? And these trickle down to education. When we're giving them education, that basic education, how do we train children to be, even in school? Yeah. When we are telling them, you come here, you're a girl, you're not supposed to be shouting. You come here, you're a man, you're supposed to be doing this and that and that. That is where socialization process starts. So when we are able to curb it right from education, we have a role to train those children to stop stereotyping by the virtue of you being either a woman or a man. The other thing is also the media. The media has a role to play on breaking that gender stereotype, that gender, you know, that whole issue surrounding gender roles and gender obligations by you being a woman or being a man. And start promoting aspects of equality when it comes to human rights equality, gender equality, even in terms of roles, that what a man can do, a woman can also be able to do it. And we start encouraging pushing beyond our capabilities. And we start even encouraging our girls, when it comes to science subjects, you can also do better. You can do it. You're not confined to just doing home science and these other subjects that are defined to be women's subjects. So we have a role as a society to just break that socialization process that instills those stereotypes in our children.
How do you make sure that there's a balance? Because I feel like there can be an extreme. When it comes to girl empowerment, especially today, we know that there have been an extreme where women are very empowered and men wameachiliwa kidogo. How do you make sure that that balance is kept? Because you need that gender, you need those gender roles to keep society, you know, we said earlier that it provides structure. So, but how do we make that balance be there?
I think it's, first of all, as you have said, we tend to lean towards a direction that we feel it's falling. Like now, some years back, we felt like the girl child is being left behind. And at this moment, we're feeling, hey, it's
the
like
boy child call.
We concentrated too much on the girls, and the boy child now is being left behind. My suggestion would be involvement of everyone. When we feel like right now we have a discussion on the boy child, they've been left behind and they're lagging behind. We need to involve everyone when we're doing these discussions. When you're putting these things on the table, we need to ensure that the girl child is equally supported just as the boy child. Otherwise, we'll have a society where there is a lot of inequality. And gender equality does not mean having the girl child so much empowered
and then the
vis-a-vis the boy child. We need to reach to a point where we feel if the boy child is low, the girl child is out there supporting the boy child to reach the level where all of us are at par. So I would suggest, or my thinking is, if we can have a holistic involvement of all the stakeholders, if it's the men, we have mentors who are mentoring the boy child. If it's the women, we have women who are mentoring the girl child, so that we have a balance.
I like that. Involve everybody. Okay. So earlier we talked about women having to join the workforce because, you know, times are changing and economy pia ni mpaka mwanamke ataamka alete kitu kwa meza. How are women being absorbed into the workplace, and how would you say we should be able to absorb them into the workplace fairly? Because I've had so many stories of women joining a certain company, they're doing the same job as a certain man, but their pay is lower. Maybe because they're a woman. I don't know why people do that. But how can women be properly absorbed into the workplace?
I would still go back to my first point of involvement of everyone. You know, sometimes when we are doing something, we are doing it for the good intention. But majorly you find that those ones who've been left behind feel like it's a threat. For instance, when we talk about the workforce, sometimes men feel like women are coming to take their spaces, despite the fact that they have the same qualification. So basically, without involving men, they will keep squeezing women to the corner and just making them still feel inferior. And the other point is about, again, working on the gender norms. Until we demystify that women are of lesser value or of lesser opportunities, then we will never have a situation where a woman is being compensated equal to a man who they are of the same qualification. So basically, I would say we still go back to the drawing board, work on our norms, do a lot of sensitization, because there are men out there, sorry to say, who still believe a woman should be below. Like, even when you are a CEO of that company, they have no option rather than probably to follow your leadership, but some will feel very wanafinyika hata kama inabidi wafuate, but they feel like their ego is still up there. So we have a lot of work to do as a society, and making them unlearn what they learned through that socialization process, that what a man can do, a woman can also do.
Now, earlier we talked about how there are those basic gender roles. Like a woman is, you know, when it comes to having children, it's the woman. When it comes to nurturing, it's the woman. When it comes to providing, it's the man. What happens when those gender roles are inverted? Where now, because of a circumstance, not because the man is not hardworking, just because of maybe a situation, the man falls out of a job. Now the woman is on who's providing for the home. Of course, now the woman has to go to work. The man ameacha kwa nyumba na watoto. How does that work? Because I can imagine maybe the man his ego may be a bit hurt. How can a woman handle that situation?
We have cases where when a woman now becomes the provider, due to circumstances, as you have said, the man's ego becomes inflicted to a way that they cannot stand it. And the majority, even some who are not understanding enough, becomes very violent to these women. So sometimes it doesn't work very well. But if we continue educating our society, and that's why I'm saying, until and unless we unlearn what we learned, and we break that socialization process, then men will keep feeling that the fact that I'm not providing, nimekaliwa. And you see, some of these analogies are reinforced by the society itself. The neighbor will start saying, it's only the woman who works. And now there comes the argument that this man amekaliwa, and you know they'll hear those rumors, and now violence breaks. And this is why I'm saying we need to do a lot of education to ensure that what was learned with the current society, things are happening, and men are finding themselves probably now taking care of children, and women are going out there to bring food on the table. So until and unless we do a lot of sensitization and again involvement of both men and women in this, then sometimes it creates a lot of violence in the society.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I have a question. I know you're going to say the same thing you have said, but just bear with me, because men are protectors. Men are the ones who are supposed to protect, you know, the women. That's just in their nature. Exactly. I know my husband is a great protector. If another man just tries anything, hey, he rises up. But how come in society, men are also the ones that harm the women? There's a lot of rape going on. There's a lot of, you know, not even at the physical, it doesn't even have to be a physical kind of thing. You can just be walking down the street and some men are just catcalling you, like, hey, I'm super, you know, just harassing you for no reason. How come that is there in society while men are the ones supposed to be protectors?
I would still repeat, socialization process. They have been taught that thing of being aggressive, and they just feel, you know, they feel they have to be in control.
I think
and
that's it.
And if not well brought up, then this control becomes negative.
Yeah.
You know, there's that, like you have said, I feel more safer when I'm around my husband. Yeah. I feel more protected. Yeah. That is positive aggression, because I'm assured of my security. Yes. But now some, because of the nature of the society, they turn out to be negative, negatively aggressive. Yeah. And this is where now you find those cases of abuse, even domestic violence. Some are just negatively aggressive because they were taught to be aggressive. But the environment they were exposed when they were growing up probably could also contribute to their nature of turning, instead of being positively aggressive, they now become negatively aggressive.
Wow, I've never thought of that aggression can turn negative if not properly honed and not properly, you know, directed to where it should be used, because aggression can be used in the right way. Yeah. Wow, maybe you can just look at that camera, give us your parting shot, and then we'll be able to close out today.
Okay. On matters gender role, I think as much as they are very important in the society, and as you have discussed, they have the positive and the negative aspect, I think it's the high time we start unlearning those negative gender roles and those that are demeaning, they are stereotyping, they're just violent, and learn the positive gender roles, even for the sake of development, sustainable development, and gender equality.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having time for us today and for being a blessing to us. I know we have learned quite a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And you were to tell us if anyone wanted to reach out to you, how can they reach out?
Yes. If you know of someone going through gender-based violence in its various forms, kindly refer them to a safe space so that we can seek legal redress, and we can also offer psychosocial support. We're based at Langalanga off Kanu Street, just next to Langalanga Dispensary, and we shelter women and girls who have gone through any form of sexual and gender-based violence. You can reach to us through 0720 995189. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you're that kind of person, or you know a person who's facing that, please go ahead, reach out the number on your screen, and she or he, it's only for ladies.
For ladies.
Yeah, she will get the help that she needs.
For men, we offer psychosocial support.
Psychosocial support. So you can also reach that number. Thank you so much for coming. I am hoping and I know that you have had a great time and learned something. I will see you same time, same place for another educative and inspiring show next week. Bye-bye.
Just